Hey guys, so in this video, we're gonna go over the 3D printing pieces, right? Remember that I mentioned that you guys were gonna 3D print some things to add on your drawings. For instance, the section cuts. Also, you guys are gonna 3D you guys will be 3D printing your elevations. Okay, so we're gonna be using you guys are gonna open up the file, the original file that you guys been working with. And then what I want you to do is remember, I'm missing one of the sections, but in your case, you guys should have uh, two elevations, two sections, and then the axle. But again, I'm just missing my section, right? Just to make just to make this video a little bit quicker. So the next thing that you guys are gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and select the original drawings. You guys are gonna select your both sections and both elevations. Okay, remember, by now everything should be in its corresponding layer. Okay, just to make everything easier for you guys uh whenever you guys do this step. So you guys are gonna select it and then go to file, export selected, and then this is going to be I'm gonna name it 3D print details. So 3D print details and just hit save it. So remember, the reason why we are exporting this is because this file is in inches. And since we're gonna prepare file for 3D printing, remember the 3D printer works with millimeters. So we need to change those we need to change to those units, and just to make everything a little bit more clean in a sense, right? So that way you guys have this file just for the drawings, the models and everything, and then you have a different files for 3D printing and then another one for laser cutting. Okay, so we can go ahead and close this guy right now, and then I'm gonna open up the new file that I just created. Okay guys, so once you guys have this guy right here, um it's gonna export the layers and everything. Okay, so this is what you want. That's why we want to be working in different layers. Okay, just so we have these different layers. Okay, so the next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the units. So instead of inches, instead of inches I want millimeters, so I'm gonna type units, and then now I want millimeters. Click OK. Remember, in your case, guys, change unit system and maintain object. Yes, yes, this is what I want. In your case, you guys are not gonna have, well, for my people with Rhino 7, you guys won't have this window. You guys are only gonna have two options, either yes or no. You just click yes and hit OK. Okay, so they're right here. Okay, so just to make sure everything's good to go, remember, these are supposed to be 3 inches long, right? So what I can do just to make sure I have the correct, I have the correct, I have the correct, yeah, measurements. I'm gonna type distance, and then it should be around 1.1 or 1.6 millimeters. No, I'm sorry. This is 3 inches. I'm sorry, guys. So this should be around. Okay, so if we multiply 3 times 25.6, it's 76.8, which is very close. So we're good. So we're good right there. Um, so the next part, guys, remember everything. You shouldn't. Whenever you were working on the laser cut file, you shouldn't have change any dimensions or anything. So all of these should be all the same size. right? All throughout like the whole, all throughout the whole, all the files, right? So they should be all the same size. So now, uh, if you guys notice this, just because we changed the units, the hats changed, right? But right now we don't really care about this just because we're gonna do something else. Okay, so the next part that I'm gonna do, guys, is I'm gonna go ahead and lock this. You know what? No, I'm not gonna lock it like that. I'm just gonna go ahead and create a new layer, and then I'm gonna name this 3D print. Then I'm gonna create a sub layer called uh 1 millimeter, or no, let's do one, or layer one, and then I'm gonna do another sub layer, which is gonna be my layer two, another sub layer, which is going to be layer three, and then remember, we only have up to 4 layers, right? 4 layers of information. So layer one, two, and three. So let me just move this up like this. Then I'm gonna change the colors. So layer one, yeah, red. Uh, this one I'm gonna make a magenta. This guy I'm gonna make it green. And then this guy I'm gonna make it blue. Okay, so now I'm gonna start working on my 3D print sub layer one. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lock my elevations and my section. Okay, so now I'm gonna start creating the 3D print layers or objects, right? So what I want you to do now, guys, is you guys have these guys right here, right? So what I'm gonna ask you to do is on my section, since I only want my first layer, I can go ahead and hide these guys like this, right? And then let's unlock this guy. I'm gonna try something quick, very quick. So unlock everything, and then I'm gonna select all this, okay? And then I'm gonna type per boolean, and then I'm gonna click outside these guys, and then you guys are gonna see this. We can fix that right now. So what this is gonna do is gonna give you the outline, right? And that's what we want. Uh, once you once you see this, just hit enter, and then if we go ahead and turn off my section, you guys are gonna see the outlines, right? So this is what we want, but we're missing, well, in my case, I'm missing one guy right here, one little square. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on. This is it. This is the guy that I'm missing. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and select one of these, and then just copy it, then move it right here, then press enter. Now I'm gonna go ahead and hide my section, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and select this and this guy right here, and then I'm gonna type trim. Then I'm just gonna go ahead and delete these lines. So now I'm gonna these guys are gonna still be separate. So I wanna join them. So I'm gonna select this guy and then this guy as well, and then just join. And now it's gonna create one closed poly surface. I mean, polyline. So this is what you guys want. You guys want the outlines of your section cuts, right? Because these are the guys that we're gonna actually we're gonna extrude them to create the laser cut pieces. Okay, so now let's make sure you guys are working on the 3D print layer. Select layer number 1, and then I'm gonna select these guys, And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna extrude them. So extrude, extrude curve, and then I just want 1 millimeter height. Okay, so that's all you need. Or let me do it again. So I'm gonna select everything because there's something that I want you to do. So I'm gonna select everything and then extrude curve and then solid yes and then delete input. Let's go ahead and click yes, enter. That way we don't have the curves anymore. Okay, so this is what we want. If we turn this back on, this is what we want. So these lines are gonna represent the drawings on your mat board, and then these guys are the ones that you guys are gonna 3D print and then put them on top of these drawings. Okay, so that's how you guys do the section and the sections and plans. So now let's work on your elevations. Okay, so again, we know that layer one it's 1 millimeter high, right? So in my section, in my elevations, if I in my elevations, guys, if I go ahead and click on my first layer and select where is it? Select objects. All of this is in my first layer, right? So all of this is in my first layer. Remember, we have 4 layers of information. So every layer, it's gonna represent 1 millimeter, right? But now what I'm gonna do, guys, this guy, I just made it 1 millimeter high. But now the way the elevations are gonna work is the closer the layer is to you, it's gonna be the highest. So in this case, I have the first one, and then remember, well, in my case, I only have 3 layers of information, right? But in some of your cases, you guys are gonna have 4 layers of information. So that means that layer number one, it's gonna be 4 millimeters high. The second layer, it's gonna be 3 millimeters. Um, the third layer is gonna be 2 millimeters, and then the fourth layer is gonna be 1 millimeter high. So let me go ahead and make a quick note for you guys, just so you guys remember. So I'm gonna create a new layer. I'm sorry. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a new layer. Then I'm just gonna do notes, and then I'm gonna make a quick note for you guys. So if you guys need to take notes of this, if you guys need to pause the video and take notes of this, you guys can do it. So layer one, it's gonna be equal for, I'm sorry. So elevations, layer one, it's gonna be equal to 4 millimeters, 4 millimeters high. Then layer two, it's going to be 3 millimeters high. Layer three, going to be 2 millimeters high. And then layer four, it's going to be 1 millimeter high. And then on your sections, only the cut line is going to be 1 millimeter high. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this right here. And then if you guys need to pause the video to take uh notes of this, that's fine. Okay, so now going back to this guy. So now I'm gonna start working on my layer one. Layer one in my layer, I'm gonna lock these guys. So if I turn this off, so I'm gonna start working with this guy. So I can only see, let me see. So I can only see the color red, which represents my layer number one, and then I can only see this magenta color, which represents layer number four. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, guys, is I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna select the hatching for now, and then I'm gonna hide it just for now. This is what I want. Okay, so remember, on my elevations, layer number one is in red. So that means that this one, I'm gonna be working on my 2D print layer number one, which is going to be 4 millimeters high. So what I'm gonna do, guys, is I'm gonna go ahead and create, let me lock this so I don't move anything. I'm just gonna start creating rectangles like this. Okay, so I'm gonna start creating rectangles. Or what I can do, guys, is the same thing as I did before, the curve boolean. So let me go ahead and unlock this so I can select it. Make sure you guys are working on the 3D print layer number one, selected, and then curve boolean, enter. And I'm gonna select outside. I'm gonna click right here, and click right here, and then just press enter, and that's gonna give you your outlines. Now, if I go ahead and turn off my elevations, I'm gonna see this guy right here, which is what we want. Okay, so now I'm gonna select it, and then I'm gonna extrude it. Okay, so extrude curve. Remember, we want to delete the input and we want it to be solid. Remember, this guy is going to be, since it's layer number one, it's going to be 4 millimeters high. So I'm gonna type 4, and that's what you want. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and hide this guy for now, and then I'm gonna show this or turn it on, and then now I'm gonna type show to show my to show the hatching. Again, you guys are gonna this is gonna turn on back again. Let's just hide it. So hide. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and create a rectangle representing my hatching. Okay, so remember, this is on the first layer, so it should be the same height as the one we just did. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and create a rectangle, and then just create a rectangle right there. Okay, so height. Remember, we should be working in layer number one for now, because everything I'm doing, it's under the layer number one. So I'm gonna select the rectangle I just did, but this time, guys, instead of this guy being 4 millimeters high, I'm just gonna make it just a little bit smaller. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna extrude it to curve solid yes, delete input yes, but this time I'm gonna make it 3.5 millimeters. Okay, and then now I'm gonna start working on my this one is layer number four, so I'm gonna go, these guys are on layer number four, right? Which in this case should be a millimeter high, but since they are hatches which represent the planes, instead of being 1 millimeter, I'm just gonna make them have 0.5 millimeters, so half a millimeter. So rectangle, remember, layer number four, because we are working on layer number four right here. So layer number four, and then I'm gonna do a rectangle. So rectangle and then rectangle again. Then I'm gonna hide everything. And now these guys, again, these are on layer number four, which should be 1 millimeter. But since these are planes, I'm just gonna make them extrude. I'm just gonna make it 0.5 millimeters. Okay. So if I go ahead and show everything back again, you guys are gonna have something like this, right? Which this is why we want this guy to be just a little bit smaller than the actual structure, right? just so we can see that there's a difference, and this is a plane. And then of course you guys are gonna have the planes on the back. Well, in my case, right? So if I turn this off, I'm sorry, if I turn this on and turn this off, let me show this. I move this guy down. I don't know what happened with my, well, he's gonna move it. So copy just so you guys see what, and then I'm gonna move this guy right here. So if you guys see, this is what we need. Okay, so represent these two blue ones represent the four layer right here, and then everything else it's under the first layer, and they should be taller, right? So this is how we see. This is how we are gonna represent that on your projects, on your drawings. Okay, when you guys are 3D printing, and then of course once you guys finish this, you guys are gonna select it and then export, select it, and then this should be STLs. This is gonna be, I don't know, elevation one, and then save, then just okay, and okay. And those are the files that you guys are gonna 3D print. So now let's work on this really quick. Again, guys, these are on my layer number one. So everything, all of this is going to be on uh layer one on my 3D print. So it should be 4 millimeters high, right? So we're gonna do it the exact same thing. So I'm gonna hide this guy right now. Layer number two, I'm gonna hide this guy. So I'm gonna go ahead and select my layer one. Make sure this is turned on. So I'm gonna go ahead and select it, and then curve boolean, select outside, inside, inside, inside. Okay, this is weird. Well, if that happens to you guys, we can always just let's lock this guy for now. Make sure you guys are working on layer number one on your 3D print, or depending, or it depends on what layer you guys are working with, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and create rectangles. One rectangle right there, then another one right here, another one right here, another one right here, and now I'm gonna hide my elevations, and now everything should be right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and extrude these guys. Again, remember, in my case, it's on layer number one, so that means it should be 4 millimeters high. So extrude, curve, and then delete input yes, solid yes. Now 4 inches, 4 millimeters, we're good. And then let's go ahead and hide this for now. So I'm gonna hide it. And now I'm gonna turn this on and turn this back on. Remember that I turned it off, so I'm gonna turn it back on. So now this is on layer number two. So layer number two should be 3 millimeters. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a polyline, and then I'm just gonna trace this guy right here. I'm sorry, we should be now I should be working on layer number two, right? On my 3D print layer. So select, trace it, which turn it on. We selected again. I know it's under my layer number two, so I know it should be 3 millimeters high. So extrude, and then 3 millimeters, and then enter. Now, if I turn everything back again, or show everything back again, and then I select this guy right here, and then move it down, and then I show this should be this should look like this, right? Where we can see this on the back, right? So this is how you guys do it, right? So once you guys finish, of course, you guys are gonna select your things and then export them for 3D printing. And yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you.